very crowded online space, my next guest shines very bright. Someone who knows herself and who has gone down a path that has transformed her into a very remarkable and talented individual. Numbers really don't matter. It's the work that you put in, it's the value that you know is within you. Cosplay is not just about followers and likes, it's about the person you become while you're part of the journey. And friends, my next guest is a member of the exclusive fitness and cosplay group, the 300DC Adelphi Phalanx, the remarkable, the talented, the timeless. Please welcome Victoria Ricchione to the show. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
It is
Thank you
so
for having me.
Yes, it's so good to have you on the show. I know it's we've been having a little bit of back and forth. I saw all the work that you've been putting into your platform, and I had to reach out and I had to know. Would love to just get started on your origins in cosplay. I know that years ago you went to Dragon Con with your sister, and there were some things going on way back then, and you have a very powerful story to share.
Yeah, so in 2009, I went to my very first Dragon Con. I didn't dress up or anything and just sort of like took it all in. And it wasn't until 2012 that my sister and I did our very own first cosplay.
Mhm.
And that was like during the height of the steampunk movement. So we did like kind of like a mashup of like steampunk and Fuku and Fukmi from
Oh
Austin
yeah, baby.
Powers. Oh yeah, baby.
We're
So
going
we
to
did
see the
that.
twins. Love it.
Yeah, and it was received very well and it just kind of went from there. But yeah, like I didn't really truly get that deep into cosplay until kind of recently. So even though I've been going
Well,
to Dragon Con for since 2009, kind of
since
crazy.
2009, I cannot tell. You have an absolutely professional look and feel to every single post you put out. It looks like you've been doing it forever, and it's just the next thing that you're working on. It's amazing. One of the things that came up while I've looked at it, there's a lot of talk about cosplay being just for the college age group. It's the TikTok generation thing. It's something that at a certain point we should all just stop cosplaying. And for those of us who have been in this for a long time, sometimes that doesn't sit very well with us. Maybe we want to disagree about that. But really, I was very interested to see what your opinion is on cosplay and how it's viewed by different age groups.
I guess I feel that everyone is entitled to view cosplay as how they wish. If they think cosplay is just for the college age group, they have that right to feel that way. But I don't have to agree with that opinion. I feel that there's talented people across all age groups, across many different communities, and cosplay being one of them. And like, if you think about it, for instance, there's like artists like Monet and George O'Keeffe. They made art well past the age of
Mm,
70,
mm-hmm.
and to like draw a comparison, cosplay to me is like a form of art. So it's just how I express myself. And I don't know, it's just I work in a very kind of an uptight environment. So I like to have this to like kind of a release. And just I've been surrounded by art since I was a very young kid, and there's just a way for me to share that with everybody, bring that art to other people out there and hope that they can appreciate it as much as I do. So,
No,
yeah.
I'm so glad that you do. And yeah, I definitely understand that there can be a stuffy corporate environment that a lot of us have to deal with or work inside of and color inside of the lines all day, but that there is that artistic side, and it definitely comes out very clearly in your work, and just that you have a very strong passion for it. You do have a talent for costume and design and have for many years. Would love to talk about how that has changed over time, and what's something that you've learned as you've been putting together cosplays for what you've been doing as you've gone along.
So I definitely say that my talent is for like thinking about things a little bit outside the box and trying to make a cosplay kind of like my own. And I appreciate all the, the different cosplays out there that are very much like exactly they look exactly like they would in a comic book or whatever, but I like to just change it up a little bit for myself. And I was just able to apply that creativity to cosplay over the years. I've been involved in the arts from a very young age, and I think that just sort of like evolved. And after my mom taught me how to sew, it just sort of expanded from there. So I think I was maybe in my 20s when she taught me how to sew, and my grandmother sewed before that. And then my mom's an artist, and I have a lot of like artists in my background. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So my mom is an artist. I actually drew a lot and painted when I was younger too. So, um, but I would just sort of like do cosplay here and there. And I would just also enjoy being out of costume, walking around the con, just appreciating everyone else's creative work. And because of that, I never really dedicated a ton of time to creating like my own cosplays. I just kind of learned that I guess one of the things that I learned is that depending on the character, the details can be very like important.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much with other characters, but it's all I think in the details, like how they are presented, like in a cosplay. I just feel that the more details there are, the better it'll look. And then I would say the details are like the one defining thing between like a good cosplay and like a great one. So I think it's all in the details. Like, so that's one thing that I learned, like just to kind of focus on those little things. So
It is. It's the little tweaks, it's the little adjustments, it's the time and attention that you put into the cosplay. Unless you're like many, where it's usually like a day before the con and you're really just throwing it together as fast as you can. A lot of people love the crunch.
I've
I'm
done
not a
that
big
before
fan.
too.
I'm not a big fan of the crunch. There are other crunches that I'm a fan of, though, and I understand that you might be as well. You do a lot of fitness and incorporate that into your cosplays. Many, I think, struggle with where fitness can fit into their life, and with cosplay, it's all a little different depending on who you are, and how you identify with these things. You've had a few years to work on this, and to me, it's a little bit more about in work and details. Would you like to talk about fitness and what inspired you to prioritize this in your life? How do you maintain it, and how did you how long did it take for you to decide that that was a very important thing for you?
Well, I've known fitness in one form or another since I was 5 years old,
Mhm.
um, when I started doing ballet. But I did also smoke for 6 years, starting at the age of 16, and didn't have the best diet in my late teens. But I would say the defining moment for me was I was in a really bad car accident in
Oh,
2007.
oh, I'm sorry.
Um, no, I'm doing great actually. And I survived. So like I suffered. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be now looking back at the pictures of my car, but I suffered a fractured pelvis, a concussion, and I have retrograde amnesia. So like I can't remember, about 4 hours of my life, even though I was like conscious apparently.
Wow.
So I'd been doing exercising prior to the accident, which helped me heal. But the injuries I sustained and the thought of how lucky I was to have survived were the things that inspired me to prioritize myself.
Hmm.
And about 6 months after my accident, I participated in like a muddy buddy. It's almost like one of those Spartan races,
Like a tough mudder?
like a Tough Mudder.
Hmm.
Yes. And it was 6 miles, I think, yeah, it was about 6 miles of biking, running, and an obstacle course. And that was like 6 months after I broke my pelvis, which was kind of nuts.
Oh, wow.
And then
That's ambitious.
yes, yeah, I like to challenge myself. And then I even went back to school and completed my undergraduate degree. So I would definitely say that was probably when I decided to prioritize fitness. And I've been doing fitness in one form or another since then. I mean, also ballet, but like since that, I've done bar, I've done CrossFit. I was even a CrossFit coach
Really?
for a little bit. Yeah, I had
Okay.
my CrossFit level one certificate for like 5 years. So I did that for a little bit. But I still incorporate a lot of CrossFit into my workouts. So yeah, and then now I'm just lifting weights because once again we're grinding to be able to march for the Adelphi at DragonCon. So yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, the Adelphi. So this is just it's amazing. The group is amazing. Your work inside of and just like would love to hear about this and about your experience with this. So you joined the Adelphi Phalanx, which is an affiliate subgroup, okay, a subgroup of the larger 300 DC Spartans, coordinates very large Spartan 300, if people remember 300 from a little while ago. It's one of my favorite movies, honestly. Lena
great
Headey.
movie.
It's so fantastic, cinematic.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
just it's awesome. um, but
Agreed.
you do the cosplays in and around Dragon Con. You have a march. You've been very active with the group, and they've had high praise of your work in the group for yourself. But yeah, just tell me what you can tell me about Adelphi.
Well, as you had said, it's an affiliate subgroup of the larger 300 DC Spartans. It's only been at DragonCon. The Adelphi has only been at DragonCon since 2022.
Hmm.
But the Spartans have been there. The larger 300 Spartans group has been there since 2007. And then, of course, Adelphi is smaller because, as you know, we're just sort of non-canon. So, um, yeah, and I mean, it's just a group of the Adelphi is just a group of women. Right around October, they choose, you can apply right before October. And then they, based on your, application and everything, they bring, accept people in, and then we all just kind of grind our way to Dragon Con. There's a whole lot more involved. We have forums and stuff, and we have challenges every month, and we have certain criteria we have to meet as a Delphi. And I think March 1st, we actually are going to announce our nods. So yeah, so it's basically out of the group that we have now,
Hmm.
and I think March 1st is like 6 months to Dragon Con at that point. So they give out nods to the people that will continue on from there all the way to Dragon Con, just
So
grinding it out.
like an actual like a nod.
Hmm. Like a
Um,
nod. Yep.
so they if you get the so the look that Jim Kirk gives to Bones, right? The
Hmm.
um, and that will tell you if you're still in the group.
Yes.
Wow.
And at that point, it's still not guaranteed we get to March with the Adelphi because we still have to meet, certain standards, physical standards being one of them, of course, but we have other standards too. We have to participate to a certain extent in the challenges, and just show up basically and show that we're dedicated to the group as a whole. And it's a combination of things basically that decide whether we get a nod in the first place, and then from that point on whether we actually get to march with the 300 Adelphi and the 300 DC Spartans as a whole. So yeah, it's very rigorous.
That's intense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a high pressure cosplay, I guess. But you you pull everything off amazing. Like it's just the if it like friends if you see that like yeah, of course you're going to see it in the show notes below, so you're going to want to follow Victoria, and you will be blown away by her work and dedication and discipline and the way that she approaches all of this. And she's just like you're just so light and easygoing about all of it, but yet there's this just discipline that you have with everything. um wow, I mean that really like wow, you're just what just what a remarkable thing that you've been like you've overcome so much, you've gone through all of these things, and without a doubt you're getting the nod from Adelphi.
Hope so.
I can't imagine. But you did mention that you're kind of non-canon, and I think that I can agree. Like some other cosplays that you've done aren't necessarily mainstream, and like mainstream being like the Wolverines and the Captain Americas and the things that are I call them pop cosplays when they come out. The things that are just kind of like trending online, and people will jump on those pop culture bandwagons, create those cosplays to see what they can generate with that. You have effectively created a cosplay art. You do a lot of the work yourself. You're working on the costumes. You're working on yourself. It's really just so much more than a bodysuit, a photo shoot. You know, that's part and parcel to the cosplay world. But you've done some really just beautiful themes with Dia de los Muertos. You've worked on just different sets, and you always have a certain angle and just a flavor to everything that you post. Just wanted to see if we could talk about what inspires you for the choices and the cosplays that seem to connect deeper with you.
I definitely like to choose characters that resonate with me as a person. Uh, and then I like to put like a twist on them and make them feel more like a part of me. But mostly I like to choose cosplays that are a good fit for my physique as well,
Mhm.
because I think the physique is actually part of the costume. And I don't think there's anything wrong with actually showing off the physique as well, because I put a lot of work into that as well. I just like to pick characters that I can cosplay and share that with other people. I guess share my view of them and my just the way I see the characters. I like to be able to share that with other people. And I don't know. I just I'm trying to think of like some of the reasons why I've picked like I definitely have a darker side to me. I mean, I guess we all do. I have a darker side to me. I've been told I'm a kind of a I feel like I'm a closet goth, but I'm always wearing
Oh,
like dark clothes and stuff.
I
So I
no,
love
you
dark characters. So
Victoria is a dark person. I just look at how she smiles at everything. Like,
it's which is funny, right? Like I do smile a lot. But I definitely have a darker side. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like maybe touching those darker sides a little bit more. Which is why like I loved Vampirella. I think she's kind of perfect because she's this darker character because she's this vampire, but she's also a hero.
mhm.
So just because she's a vampire, she's not a bad person. So I love that about her. And I don't know, she's kind of like a dark angel in my opinion. So she inspired me. That character inspired me to choose her. Captain America, which is the most recent one that I did.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that.
or I should say
Really
Captain
good.
Carter. Sorry,
Captain Carter. Mhm.
Captain Carter. So I don't know. She's like I love Peggy Carter, but I felt like Captain Carter resonated a little bit more with me because she's kind of like, a little more powerful, and I felt like it would fit with the whole fitness thing.
Mhm.
And then I had this idea. I was like, what if we made her like a pinup style Captain Carter? So like that's the twist. Like I love to take something like an idea and then like twist it a little bit and maybe show off a little bit more of my physique. Not in a bad way, I don't think. But I just, I honestly, that was like, that turned out so much better than I thought it would. And she's just a powerful person. She's this woman with so much strength, and she's a captain. And I don't know, that really resonated with me. I'm trying to think of some of the other characters. The Dia de los Muertos, that's touching a little more on my darker side.
Really?
A little bit, although the Day of the Dead is actually considered kind of like a celebration of life.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that's why I was wondering about that.
hmm
I'm like, well,
Yeah,
it's kind of it's a little bit of both, which
it
I think
is.
you balance it off very well
Yeah,
in what you do. So it
I
makes
love the
sense.
Day of the Dead. Yeah, I love the the sugar skull makeup,
Mhm.
and I love the flowers and all the artwork that goes into the actual headpieces. And I actually make my own like headpieces. I've got quite a few of them, and I started making them years ago. And I just fell in love with the Day of the Dead. Actually, I'm like on my bucket list is to go to Mexico for the Day of the Dead and celebrate that there. But I definitely think I think with Day of the Dead, it's more like the beauty of it. Like it's not just about death and dying; it's the celebration and how it comes out
Hmm.
in the colors, the beautiful colors of it, and the makeup and everything. It's just I really think it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I could
Well,
probably keep going on about all the different characters.
and that would be absolutely fine. I mean, I mean, there's always so much to talk about and so much to appreciate with everything that you've put together and just like you said, the attention to detail, which really does come out with every, just all of it. I don't want to single anything out. That the makeup and the theme and yeah, that you're doing all of this, just creating all of this. I think it's said best in Watchmen. It's like creating gold out of air or air out of gold. It just happens, and
Love that.
you seem to do it very effortlessly. Even though you've gone through some rough periods in your life, and
Yes.
you've seen that, you've grown from it, you've learned from it, you've improved. Many people do turn to cosplay as an escape. It does become an outlet for those dark times, and it does often give us that outlet for that shadow or that playful or maybe even um, a little bit out there inner self that we like to, but we can run from problems. But you kind of spun this differently. You took a pause and you confronted problems. You went inward. You've just done so many memorable and remarkable things as time has gone on. And honestly, I think it's just the beginning of what we're going to see from you, Victoria. I think that it's really just scratching the surface on your ability to be in this space and really tell a story and create content that is unique and remarkable. Just wow, yeah, it's just really amazing. Um, I guess I don't know if this is a question or if this is a comment, but um, can you tell me about how your time away? So being away from social media, being away from things like this, taking pause when you have has impacted what we are seeing now. I know that you've gone through some things. Maybe in, let's say, the last 5 or so years, you kind of put everything down, and you picked it back up more recently. But you had that time to kind of see what you wanted to do. Would you like to comment on what happened in that little gap?
Absolutely. So I think a big part of it, and I think that's affected everybody across the board, was the pandemic of 2020, which, is 5 years ago, really,
Mhm.
when it started. And that was the first year that I didn't go to Dragon Con since I'd started going. And uh, I think at that time I there was just so much going on, and I just decided to get off of Facebook, which is what I was using at the time. And so I just kind of like broke away from it. And I was living in a different state at the time with my fiance at the time.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just I think that was kind of like the catalyst to like why I just kind of dropped off of social media, and just not being able to go to the Dragon Con. That was just kind of like a big blow for me, because it was just that one place a year where I get to go hang out and look at all the creativity and maybe dress up every now and then. And then in 2021 I got married, and I think we we did not get a chance to go to Dragon Con for a couple years since like that pandemic. And things didn't go very well in the marriage. I ended up,
Oh,
uh, which is totally fine.
You're,
I'm
you're
so
like,
much
I'm
happier
over it.
now. I'm okay. Yeah, no, it was actually a very good thing. Which, I have no problems talking about it. But I definitely think that that relationship was a little bit stifling too.
Mhm.
And we didn't get to go to the con for a couple years, and just a lot of things happened. I ended up getting the divorce in 2023, and that's when I decided um, to join or apply for the Adelphi because I think like right after the divorce, just very last minute, I said, I'm going to Dragon Con. So it was like 2023, Dragon Con 2023. And at that point, I hadn't been in 2020, 21, or 22. I'd missed 3 years. And I was like, that's enough. So I went to Dragon Con very last minute for like a day in 2023. And I saw these women marching with the rest of the Spartans. And I was just so inspired by that. And I'd always been very much inspired by the 300 DC Spartan group for many years. For the many years that I went to Dragon Con, it was just when I saw the women, I was like, wow, maybe I can do this. Like, this is so cool. And I felt free, free from a bad marriage.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm going to do it. And so I applied to the Adelphi, got in, and started grinding for 2024. And during that time, I became friends with these amazing women in the Adelphi. We've gotten very close since then. And
Oh yeah, they're fun.
they're
Um,
awesome. They're great. And I seriously consider them to be my friends for life. They're absolutely amazing. So, Allison, you may have talked to her before. She's
I
fantastic.
do. I appreciate her humor. I think we kind of vibe that way, and she just posts these memes that they make me laugh out loud
She's
when she
great.
does them. I'm just like, what? This person just
She,
right
oh yeah,
sees
she's
me completely.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, she's great. And then so are the rest of the group. They're amazing women. They're all strong, and we're all going through it together. And so I just developed these really strong friendships with them. And in that time, I was inspired by them to like um, just maybe I should dive deeper into this whole cosplay thing because I'd never, I'd cosplayed here or there. And I think just that getting the divorce and meeting these amazing women and being inspired by them, I was just a little more driven to like maybe try a bunch of different cosplays. And I think I may have overdone it a little bit because my cosplay list keeps like growing and growing and growing.
Oh,
Next thing
that
you know,
yeah,
I had,
that's
yeah.
typical. Yeah,
Oh yeah, and it was
always a
like
list.
always a list. And actually 2024, Dragon Con 2024 was like the very first year ever that I actually had to like schedule cosplays. Like, and it was all scheduled around the Adelphi, of course, because that takes up, quite a bit of
Yeah,
time.
that's
And then
yeah.
we've got our tan that we have to take care of and all that stuff. So we can't do cosplays before or after we get the tan and or after we've tanned to like that might move things around. And so like there's a lot of planning into it. And here I am trying to do, I don't know, 8 or 9 cosplays
It's
and try to
ambitious.
plan them. And yeah, it was very ambitious.
And
I don't think I got to all of them.
there is a full-time job as well, like you
There
have to
is
work around a work schedule. Um,
exactly. So that's what I tell people. It's like time and money. I want to do all these things, but they might take a little longer because it just takes time and money. But I think just being around them inspired me to just really dive into this cosplay thing. And I found that I was able to like express myself and in a way that I hadn't been able to before.
mhm.
Because I felt very like I don't know, just stifled in a way. I don't know how to explain it. It's just so I love
Yeah,
it.
it was like your wings got clipped.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I understand that. Probably a story for another podcast. But it's just really so good for you to share your story and your insights. And thank you so much. As we wind down the show, I do have a kind of a lighter question for you. What has actually been your favorite shoot to date? And
Gosh.
what do you look forward to doing the most this year?
Oh God, that's a tough one. Up until recently, my favorite shoot was my very first Vampirella
Hmm.
shoot, and just made me realize like I really feel like Vampirella. This is amazing. I would definitely say that was my favorite until this recent Captain Carter. I don't know. I definitely think that I'm in love with these like powerful characters, and the pictures came out so beautifully, in my opinion, for Captain Carter. So I would say it's like a close, like it's very close to Vampirella as far as like my favorite shoot, Vampirella and Captain Carter. I would say my favorites. Yeah, and
Very
then
cool. Yeah.
so you're wondering what I'm going to do next?
Yeah, I am just a little curious if you want to share, unless it's
So
like a
I'm
big, it's like kind of a secret right now.
I'm current no, I'm currently working on Red Sonja.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you can see, like, I've created
Hmm.
the bikini. I don't know if you can see that, but like, I've started on that.
That's
I'm
super
kind of,
hard to do, by the way.
it is, I know it's definitely a challenge, but I like a challenge. But I'm currently trying to build, an axe out of EVA foam. So that one is, I'm not a foam smith
Oh,
whatsoever.
plug
The
plug
first
for my
foam
friends.
smith, huh?
Plug for my friends at Geek Ethos. If you do
Oh,
need something, you can
ooh,
go. You can find them on Instagram, Geek Ethos. I get all my stuff from them. They're amazing. They're very very down to earth, fun people.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll look them
I can
up for
share that.
sure. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm always looking for help. So if someone could help me with an axe, that'd be great.
Mhm.
I think the first foam smithing I did was for my Adelphi armor last year. So I've never done anything more complex than that. And that was easy somewhat compared to like, all the other stuff I see out there. So currently working on that on Red Sonja. I really want to do a Lady Death.
Ooh,
And yeah, and
that's okay.
yeah, I really want to do a Lady
Hmm.
Death. And there's actually a cemetery here in town, a beautiful, beautiful cemetery. And the current plan is to go, if I manage to do the costume, shoot at that cemetery, right before the con, Dragon Con. So that's another thing I'm working on. I would love to do, a Bastet. I don't know if you're familiar with Bastet.
No, no,
Oh,
I know the
she's
name.
an Egyptian goddess,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a goddess of uh, women's secrets, cats, fertility, childbirth. It would be a really cool cosplay if I could pull it off. So, again, that's one of those different things that my brain is going, I would love to do that. And then I would love to do Ankh Sunamun. I don't know if I'm saying the name correctly.
Yeah,
She
that's
is the
actually
character
yeah.
from The Mummy.
Hmm.
And then most recently, you may have seen this. Someone's talked me into doing Possessed Dana from Ghostbusters.
Oh no, that I am very interested in. That's a fandom that goes way way back for me.
Hmm.
Love Ghostbusters. Actually, I want to do if I could ever set it up, I would want to do the levitation scene where she's wearing that and she's like rotating around on the bed.
That
Um,
would be amazing.
it would be a
I
lot
think
of
it can
fun
be
to set
done
up. Yeah,
somehow. Yeah. Hmm. That'd be really cool. So, and that was literally just yesterday. Someone was like, "You should do this," and I was like, "Thanks." Now I'm gonna add this to my growing list of cosplays. So, like the ones I told you are like at the top, but there's so many more I want to do. Celine from Underworld,
you'd
Queen
be
Carmilla, like just all different kinds of
so many.
cosplays.
Those are all just they're classic and they're fun to work on.
Oh
They're
yeah.
fun characters to become. And I'm just gonna say that you mentioned these are powerful characters, but I think there's a little bit of give and take to that. I think that you put power into these characters with who you are, Victoria. I think that's really where that power comes from, and it just complements the what you're communicating with the character. It's a good fit. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, but
That means a lot to me. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
no, it means a lot for you to be on the show and to be, willing to be a guest. Or it's just so great to have you. And I would love to, as we wind the show down, um, just where can we find you and how can we support you online?
So you can find me on Instagram, on at Victoria underscore Recchione. And it's Recchione. And then I also have a Throne page. I don't know if you've heard of Throne. It's kind of like a cosplayer's like wish list. So if anybody wants to support me or help me, I have some items on there. Um,
Because cosplay is expensive,
it is
friends. It's
expensive, very
expensive.
much so.
So you should probably do that. Support Victoria so
Thank
that
you.
she can make all of these awesome things. And we can appreciate that all the more.
Appreciate that.
And
Thank
there will
you.
be links in the show notes below so that you can click right from the YouTube episode. And it will be very easy for you to do that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for the interview. It was great.
No, thank you so much for being here, and friends, it's been a while, and we're just getting going on season 6 here, Cult of Personality, Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. My guest here with Victoria Ricchione, and everyone, thank you so much for being here with us today. This is Scotty B from Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary saying bye bye, everybody.